All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Maurice Brown Comedy Show on bogradio.fm. This is the NFL edition, riding with my main man, Antoine A.S. Hip Hop Stewart. What's up, Stu? What's going on, man?
What's going on, Mo? How's everything?
Everything's good. We had a great week 6 in the NFL. There's tons of stuff to talk about. And ladies and gentlemen, if you have any comments that you want to add on during the show, please feel free to chime in. If you're a football fan, if you're an NFL fan, there's lots to discuss. And we'll start out with week 6 with the Commanders and the Ravens. That was like one of the 2 or 3 marquee games of the weekend. The Ravens won the ball game, but the Commanders stood up. Your impressions of this matchup in Baltimore?
I think it happened just the way we thought it would. It was a great game. I think Jaden Daniels and the Commanders really showed that they are to be taken seriously. Yes, they had some issues on the defensive side of the ball with their defensive backs, but that offense was rolling against a playoff team in the Ravens. And I think that the Commanders, that was their welcome out party where everyone knows that, yeah, you've seen us beat up teams that we're supposed to, but when it come down to playing a real team, we showed that we could go blow from blow. Of course, the Ravens ended up getting it done, but the Commanders were right there and showed that they are to be taken seriously.
They did. They showed they're to be taken seriously. They stood up in this one, and I have a feeling that they're going to have something to say in postseason. They're just getting better, and that was the litmus test to see where they stood with one of the best teams in the NFL, and they're not far away. So they're exciting. Green Bay, my team, 34-13 over Arizona. Not a lot of problems in this game. The Bears, 35-16 over Jacksonville in London. We kind of, you know, look at that one and go, yeah, that's it right there. I mean, the Jags suck. Buffalo, 23-20 over the Jets, a game that the Jets had to have, and they came up short again. And now they pick up Devontae Adams. What did you think of the Buffalo and New York Jet game?
It was a good game. I did pick Buffalo to win a close game. Um, when games are that close, you're only a play away from winning or losing. I think both of those teams are kind of evenly matched. But the Bills made enough plays to get the win.
They made enough plays to get the win. It was a close one. I don't think the Jets are that far away. A lot of people are preaching gloom and doom in New York. And it's a lot of football left, and they can come back, particularly with the acquisition of Devontae Adams. We'll come back later in the NFL headline segment and talk more about that. Cincinnati, 17-7 over the New York Giants. And then your boys, the 49ers, 36-29. I did get all that on the screen. I think the final score was 36-24. Actually, there it is, 36-24 over Seattle. The Texans 41-21 over the Patriots in a yawner. The Eagles 20-16 over Cleveland. Nick Sirianni getting into it with the fans in Philly. Your thoughts on this matchup, Stu?
Oh yeah, that was definitely a good one. The Browns showed some effort, but Eagles ended up getting the dub. The Browns they got to figure a lot of things out. They got to do some soul searching and see what's going on. Philly got the tough win on the road, and it's funny with Nick getting into it with people and stuff like that. They got to get focused, man. I know that Philly, before they played the 49ers last year, they were on a roll. And it still seems like they have kind of this hangover mode going. So good win for Philly. And, I'm looking forward to seeing what they do next week. seems like we lost Mo, everybody. So I guess I'm gonna hold it down till he gets everything situated and gets back on. Um, what we got going on? The Chargers and over the Broncos. That was a tough one. Um, the Chargers were able to make a few more plays than the Broncos. We got the Colts over the Titans. These close games. Um, I'm sorry. Let me see. Chargers. Yeah, Chargers over the Broncos. Colts, Titans. Then you got the Steelers. They ended up getting the dub over the Raiders. And then Detroit Lions stomped the mud hole in the Cowboys. So um, it's one of those things, man. The Cowboys definitely have some soul searching to do. This is every year they're at least supposed to hit the postseason or give us something. Um, this is Jerry Jones. This is his team. He's the owner, the GM, the everything. Um, hold on one second. We got Mo on the line. All right. We're trying to hang on for Mo to get back on there. He was having some technical difficulties, so hopefully he'll get back on here. But I'm going to talk about the Cowboys. That's what I'm going to talk about. America's team. How about them Cowboys? I haven't heard that lately. It's a lot of Cowboy fans that I personally know that was chirping before the season started. And they was talking about what they was going to do this year and Dak this and Dak that. And he worth the money and all this. And he might be. But as a team, the Cowboys look horrible with a capital H. Horrible. Jerry Jones, he has to figure it out. Um, and that's why they can't keep any coaches. I'm talking about Jerry Jones. I'm talking about these Cowboys and how they they
Yeah.
they look horrible.
Well, the Cowboys, yeah, I mean, I don't know how you really explain what's happening in Dallas. I don't know how they have completely miscalculated what they have. And it all starts with Jerry Jones. I mean, I said this about the Washington Redskin, now Commander franchise, years ago. I don't know if I've said it so many times. The moment Dan Snyder is removed, the Washington franchise will be okay. And I said the Dallas Cowboys are in the same situation. The moment Jerry Jones is removed, the Cowboys will be okay. The Commanders, they're okay. Snyder's gone, and look what they're doing. And that's what Dallas has to do right now. You can't fire the owner. Okay. But until Jerry Jones leaves, this soap opera is going to continue.
Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, you're right. Jerry got to go, man.
You got to go.
Because and the reason why he has to go is because Jerry has made it quite clear that he can't just sit back and be an owner, hire some football guys to make football decisions, and just enjoy the team, enjoy the game, enjoy
Yeah.
the money, enjoy something. Just don't, have your finger on the team as far as picking and choosing players and all that stuff because if it's crystal clear that you're not good at that at this stage in life. And you need to relinquish those and let someone else make those decisions. So unfortunately, Jerry got to go, man.
Yeah, man. And when you say go, you mean fishing. Look, dude, at this stage of hey, yo, look, man, at this stage of his life at 82, man, get the team to your son. You got a lot of money, man. Go sit down, man, and relax, dude. I mean, enjoy life. Go to Europe. Go vacationing. Like I said, do some other things, man, and go to the Jerry World and watch them play, and just watch as a fan. Is your team? We get that, Jerry. You can even take the applause if they win. But you need to get out of the office and give that to your son, man. The game's passed you by. You need to be thinking about doing some other things. I hear the bass is great in Florida this time of year. Anyway, look, let's let's look at some of the other things that went down this past week 6. I said Cleveland came up short against Philadelphia. Nick Sirianni lost it with the fans. The Chargers 23-16 over Denver. The Colts 20-16 over the Titans. Pittsburgh 32-16 over the Raiders. They're thinking about going to Russell Wilson. Detroit, as you mentioned, destroyed the Cowboys on national TV at Jerry World. Just humiliating. You feel bad for those guys. And then Atlanta 38-20 over the woeful Carolina Panthers. You talk about woeful and going in the wrong direction. That would be the Carolina Panthers. But we want to look at some of the headlines in the NFL right now. And I talked about Davante Adams a little bit earlier. And I said he might be the answer. I didn't actually say that, but I will say it. He might be the answer for a Jet team, in my mind, Stu, that has been competitive, even though they're 2-4. Can the addition of Davante Adams to the Jets turn their season around now that he's reunited with Aaron Rodgers?
Absolutely. And the crazy thing is, it's not like the Jets were having a failed season. They're still in competing for the number one spot in their division.
Yeah.
They're right there. So it's not like they're sitting at the bottom trying to, go on a run. And I think Adams will be that piece that they were missing, because he's that. They have Lazard there, but Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers' chemistry is unmatched. We know what those two can do. And I think that that's going to make everyone around them play better, because guess what? When you got Devontae Adams on the X out there wide, guess what he's going to attract? Double coverage. Guess what? Defensive coordinators are going to have to scheme and pay more attention to him, and that's going to allow everybody around him to eat. That's going to allow the other receivers to do better. That's going to allow the run game to do better. And they already have a top defense, and they have Aaron Rodgers. So that should put them over the top and put them where we thought they should be, beginning the season, instead of, the fluctuation of going the ups and downs. I think that Davante Adams coming to that team will give them the spark that they need to make a playoff push.
I really do. I think the Jets have just barely been missing. And Aaron Rodgers, to me, unfortunately, I have to throw this out. He's one big shot or two away from being sidelined for the season. They're not protecting him. If he doesn't get that ball out in 2 to 3 seconds, then he has to scramble. He can't scramble like he did when he was 29 and going to the NFC Championship every year. And that has resulted in him taking some big shots. I heard him say the other day at the post game, they said, Aaron, you feeling all right? He said, well, I hurt. My body hurts. So, I mean, that's the one thing that they have to do. They've got to protect him better. And I think having Davante Adams is going to allow him to get that ball out on time. And quite frankly and honestly, when you look at Alan Lazard, who gets Aaron, I think Garrett Wilson is still learning Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
He's gonna benefit by watching Davante and even watching Alan Lazard, how they work with Aaron Rodgers. I think the Jets still have a big upside. I'm not one of those detractors that thinks that all is lost. I think it's going to be interesting to see what Davante Adams does for this team. Being a Green Bay Packer fan, I know what Aaron and Davante can do when they're on the same page. My only pushback is They're going to have to protect him a little bit better. I don't think he can take too many more big shots. I think, quite frankly and honestly, he's kind of hanging on week to week. I think he's kind of hurt and he's just like muscling through. So they got to protect him a little bit better than they have been. But outside of that, I think that the Jets have a big upside.
Yeah.
I want to switch gears and go to another wide receiver that was picked up in a big trade this week, Amari Cooper from Cleveland. And you can understand him wanting to get out of Cleveland because Deshaun Watson has no idea what he's doing. And the ownership in Cleveland has made it clear. Oh, no, 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 no. He's going to earn every dime of that $230 million I paid that young man. I don't care. I have not wasted my money. So Amari Cooper is like, yo, get me up out of here. And so now he's in Buffalo. And now my question to you is, Stu, can Amari Cooper be the final piece to the Buffalo Bills offense for Josh Allen?
Most definitely. I think everyone pretty much knows that Amari Cooper can ball. He just needs a top quarterback or someone that can get him the ball. He can make things happen. That's a Buffalo team that's missing. They were missing in that position from what they lost last year at the receiver position. So I think that he can give them that edge that they had the previous year, and that things can start to move more smoothly for them. But they've been winning games without them. So with the addition of Amari Cooper, that should put them in a better situation to win games more convincingly and give Josh Allen a big target, and that'll open up everything around him in that receiving core as well.
A moment or two ago, you and I were just waxing eloquent about the issues that are going on in Dallas in Big D. We were just
Yeah.
talking about that, and you look at that situation, and the question now begs: are the Cowboys on the verge of spinning out of control from within that organization, starting with Jerry Jones?
I think it's deeper than on the verge. I think they've already done that.
Okay.
It's kind of like, when Jesus said to the fig tree, and you won't bear any more fruit. It wasn't an instant thing that we saw, but over time you saw that thing was dead. Um, you know, I think the Cowboys. I think it's over. I think it's over. They've been hanging on to a string. You know, hoping for a playoff appearance, and
Yeah.
then they get into the playoffs and they lay an egg every
Yes.
year.
Well,
And this year, they finally said, you know what? We're going to do you one
well,
better.
it's
We're not
gotten
even going to
worse
make the
this year
playoffs. We're
because
not
now
even
they
going to make
can't
the
even get
playoffs.
a good regular season game win in without imploding. And I mean, and I think we got to go back to last year, and I'd love to hear your response to this. But my boys, the Packers, went in there in the playoffs last year. They did something to Dallas in Dallas that I don't think had ever been done. I mean, the Green Bay Packers went in there and they rearranged their furniture. Okay. And I don't think mentally Dallas has recovered from that. Because you look at it, the New Orleans Saints went in there and rearranged their furniture. The Lions did it on a level I don't think anybody's ever done it. And I don't know if they have. I think this is a mental. I think now the Cowboys are suffering from a mental block. Your opinion?
I think it's just all the bad decisions that Jerry Jones has made is catching up to him.
Okay.
And he has that. He has some super glue, some Elmer's glue in his hand, and he's trying to piece this thing together. But it's just falling apart. It's falling apart at the seams. You can't keep getting rid of good coaches. Dan Quinn is a great coach. And your arch nemesis, the Washington Commanders, have him, and they're doing well. You can't keep losing these coaches and think that you could put together some great players on a piece of paper and think that they're going to perform. Coaching matters. The scheme matters. Having players that believe in the scheme matters.
Yeah.
And I think that, Jerry is at the end of his ropes, and he's at that pivotal point where he's going to have to relinquish the control that he has to his son and just sit back and enjoy the show, or you're going to continue to see a downward spiral of the Dallas Cowboys.
You know what? I like that analogy about Elmer's glue. I think Steven, the son, has to go into the garage and get that Elmer's glue out of Dad's hands. Dad, give me the glue. Give me the glue. Come on, come on, let's go. Anyway, let's look at let's look at the
Don't
next
eat the glue,
NFL
Dad.
headline.
Don't eat the glue.
Yeah, Dad, don't eat the glue. Dad, don't eat it. Come with me, Dad. Come with me. Come on. It's time for bed, Dad. It's time for bed. Let me get you some milk. Anyway, that being said, we're going to move on to our next NFL headline. And we were talking about the Commanders, how they stood up against the Ravens. And I thought Jaden Daniels did a fine job. They just came up a little bit short. They gave the Ravens all they wanted. What did we learn, Stu, about the Washington Commanders and Jaden Daniels in this last game against the Ravens?
I think we learned that they're everything that we thought they would be, as far
Yeah.
as looking at Jaden Daniels and looking at that team, and we said, well, they're beating the teams they're supposed to beat, but let's see what happens when they face a real challenge like the Baltimore Ravens. Let's see what happens when you have to go into hostile territory and show up. And they showed up. They may not got a win, but they showed enough that they are to be taken seriously. And I believe at this point that the Washington Commanders are going to win that division. I know Philly has something to say about that, but from what I've seen, I think, like as you mentioned earlier, they're going to continue to get better. Daniels is going to continue to gain more confidence, more chemistry with his receivers. Eventually, the defense is going to start clicking on the back end with the DBs. And once that happens, they're going to be a tough team to beat. They're already tough to beat right now. And as they continue to get better, they're going to be that much more tough. And I think that Jalen Daniels is the real McCoy. He is the real deal.
Yeah, I think he's the real deal. I think anytime you go into Baltimore and you play a championship caliber club like that, down really to the almost to the wire, you got to start looking at the Commanders and go, oh no, this is not a fluke. Jaden Daniels absolutely knows what he's doing out there. And let's face it, how many defenses are actually going to be able to contain Derrick Henry? I mean, he's a battering ram. And he's going to do that
Yeah.
to everybody in the NFL. As long as the Ravens keep feeding him, he's going to do that to anybody he faces. And then you have to come up with what is the perfect scheme against that? And I think you're just going to have to look at what people did with the Titans when he played in Tennessee. You have to stack the box and you have to make the quarterback beat you. But I'm going to tell you right now, Lamar Odom ain't Ryan Tannehill.
Right.
So the Ravens are a handful, is what I'm saying. They very well could be undefeated themselves,
Yeah.
and the Kansas City Chiefs in the back of their mind, they know that, and they've got Baltimore in the back of their mind. So the Commanders, they go in there and they're like, hey, we can be up here with you. And matter of fact, if you give me another shot, we might beat you. So I think we learned that the Commanders are for real at the end of the day. We're going to go to our next headline. By the way, you're watching bogradio.fm. This is the Maurice Brown Comedy Show, NFL edition, with Antoine A.S. Stewart, talking NFL football and headlines as we prepare to go into week 7. Another one of our headlines, Stu, will be Russell Wilson and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, we watched Justin Fields and the Steelers do a pretty good number on the Raiders. 32-18 was the final. I think Justin had 2 rushing touchdowns in that game. He's got 5 rushing touchdowns on the year, 5 throwing touchdowns on the year. And they're 4-2. And now Mike Tomlin is like, you know what? I think I want to take a look at Russell. Will Russell Wilson be able to take the Steelers offense to the next level?
In a sense, I think he can in the passing game. But I don't get that play. If the score was the opposite and the Steelers got stomped out, then that gives you that option to say, Justin, look, we're going to do that. But the kid is like, hey, I'm winning. We're 4-2. I'm winning. It's not pretty all the time, but I'm making plays. I'm making things shake. I would leave him in there. Why mess up which was working? It may not be ideal. It may not be the way you want it. You may not be lighting it up in the passing game and stuff like that, but you're winning. Because the last thing you want to do is to take him out while he's winning, put Russell in there. Russell stink the joint up, and then he's like, he's gonna be feeling some type of way. Like, oh, you're gonna take me out as a winning quarterback, put him in there because he's a vet. He stinks it up. Now you want me to go back in there? He may be fit. I wouldn't mess with it. And the only way I would change quarterbacks if it's Justin is playing horrible and they're losing, that would give me what I need to change the quarterbacks. But right now, I hope he keeps things as they are. Yes, Russell can give you some different looks and he may give you a spark in the offense, but you're winning. You know, don't mess with stuff. Don't mess with it if you're winning. That's how I feel about it.
And I would have to agree with you on that. I mean, I respect the heck out of Mike Tomlin, but I think that if barring Justin doing something monumentally stupid and putting them constantly behind the eight ball and they're 2-4, yes, but you're 4-2, and he's played respectable football. They're on a roll. I would leave him in. I understand Mike Tomlin's position, looking at it from a veteran standpoint. Hey, Russell's been through the wars. He's a guy that can maybe give our offense a little bit more pop because they're not explosive on offense. But at the same time, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I have a feeling that Mike Tomlin is not going to pull the trigger on this. This may be something that he wants to do. I could be wrong, but my gut feeling, because he has not made the official announcement yet that Russell is the starter. The report is he's giving him reps with the first team, but has not named Russell the starter yet. And I just gotta believe that Mike Tomlin will go, okay, I think I'm going to stay with Justin right now because there's got to be a lot of talking going on in that coach's room about this. And I think at the end of the day, the call is leave Justin in. We'll see what happens. We're talking about the Detroit Lions just demolishing the Dallas Cowboys as we continue our NFL headline segment on Sunday. They lost a huge part of their defense in Aiden Hutchinson. Arguably the best defender in the league right now today. If I were to pick the best defensive stopper in the NFL, I'd say Aiden Hutchinson. Can the Lions, Stu, continue to make a Super Bowl run without Hutchinson?
Yes, they can, but having a player of that caliber out is detrimental. It's definitely going to be that much harder to be successful in that mission.
Yeah.
And during the trade deadline, they may want to look at Hassan Riddick from the Jets right now. I know Crosby. The Raiders have said that they're not trading Crosby, but you want to look at your options because you want to see you may not get the same play from Riddick that you were getting from Hutchinson, but hey, you got to put somebody in that spot, fill somebody in that spot. Unless they got another Hutchinson that we didn't know about, he didn't get his chance. I would be looking as an owner and as a coach and as a GM. I would be looking to try to plug that leak just a little bit. You may not get, someone of that caliber, but you at least try to get somebody close.
Well, we've got the trading deadline coming up in about 2 to 3 weeks. The talk is right now Max Crosby from the Las Vegas Raiders is someone that the Lions may go after. I've heard Miles Garrett uh, thrown out there as a possibility for the Lions to go get. And then you mentioned Hassan Riddick, and you going, I don't know what the Jets have done to offend this man, but he don't want to play with the Jets for whatever reason. I don't know what's going on there, but there's a possibility that the Lions could go after him as well. And even Green Bay has shown some interest in getting a Max Crosby or a Miles Garrett. I learned today. That's how competitive the NFC North has become. But the Lions are going to have to. They need to go after one of these guys because Aiden Hutchinson gave them the much needed pop that they need on the defensive side of the ball. I don't know how much it would hurt a Super Bowl run. They're fully loaded. I mean, the Lions are just loaded, but it just takes one huge missing piece to kind of derail that, and Hutchinson
Mhm.
could actually be that person. We'll see what happens with that. Let's switch gears and look at the NFL Power Five, and I'm going to start out with the NFC, and I have them as follows: Minnesota at 5-0, number one, followed by Detroit at number two, the Commanders at three, Bears, Packers round out 4 and 5. Your thoughts?
I wouldn't have the Bears in there.
Oh, okay, my bad.
I wouldn't have the Bears in there. I like everybody else. You know, Vikings. I think they earned the position of number one. Um, you know, Lions. You know, they're playing great ball right now. Number two, I'm
Okay.
not mad at that. I'm not even mad with the Commanders at three. And you know, the Packers could be right in that top three spot. You know, we know that Love was hurt. Their
Right.
backup held him down, did a good job. Packers are playing just as good as anybody on that list. Chicago, I'm not sold on them being top five yet. I know they put together two back to back good games. Their level against teams that they're supposed to do that with. You know, the Commanders showed that not only do we do that with who we're supposed to do that with, but you bring in a potential Super Bowl or playoff team in here, we're going to show you that we're that same team, we're that same dog. We
Yeah.
haven't really seen that out of the Bears just yet. You know, I think the 49ers, I know we got a tough one this week. I think I would probably put them at the fifth spot right now. They're right there, you
Okay.
know, at you know, 500. We're sitting at 500 right now. I think
Yeah.
I will put them at the fifth spot over the Bears.
Okay. As you mentioned before, I kind of forgot about the 49ers. I mean, they should be in the top five. I think San Francisco's been struggling so much with their identity of late that I just had kind of a slippage there because I think they do belong in the top five. And I would put them there instead of the Bears. But they just completely slipped my mind. No, the 49ers belong in the top five. There's no doubt about that. And they really showed that against Seattle in their last game. They had the Cardinals beat by 10 points, and they gave that away. And the 49ers are going to be back. Like I said before, by week 7, 8, 9, certainly by 10, they're going to be the best team in the NFC. And they're getting Christian McCaffrey back, I think, in another week. And they will be back. So I slipped on the 49. And I think the Chicago Bears, they have had a light schedule. And when you look at the wins that they've had, the only reason I give them a nod is because they are hammering these poor teams. So I think by virtue of their demolition of teams that are not good, it suggests, hey, they might have a little bit of something coming. And
Right.
so I got to give them some respect for, in that regard. At Green Bay, they've had, some slippage here and there. I think we're starting to get our groove going. I don't think we're there yet. We haven't beaten any monstrous teams yet. So I kind of leave them on the back end. I think this week we got the Vikings and Lions. They're going to be getting down, I think, in Minnesota, and that's going to tell a lot. I've got basically the NFC North is in my top five, But I do believe you're right about the Bears. They could be replaced by the 49ers. There's
Yeah.
no question about that. Let's look at the AFC. And I have them as follows: Kansas City at number one, 5-0, followed by Baltimore at 4-2. No question, big dogs in the AFC. And then I have it with the Houston Texans rounding it out at three, followed by Buffalo and Pittsburgh. Your thoughts?
I think that's pretty fair. I can't argue with that.
Okay.
You can give some wiggle room to Steelers, and I know the Chargers are going to try to sneak in there. They
Right.
got their win this week,
Right.
but other than that, hey, I think that the 1 and 2, we know who that is. I like the way the Texans are playing right now. Buffalo, they just got them a heck of a weapon, and the Steelers have always been pretty much even kill. So I like that list, Mo.
Yeah, I think when you look at the would be quote unquote would be teams in the AFC, it's I like the Chargers. I'm not really sold on them yet. I need to see about 2 or 3 more weeks because Justin Herbert, his health is questionable, and he looked like the old Justin Herbert last Sunday
Yeah.
against. Okay, if Justin Herbert is 100 and he's that guy we know he can be, the Chargers pose to me, along with Houston, along with the Houston Texans, the only real threats to Kansas City and Houston in the AFC. I'm not sold on Buffalo, even though they're 4-2. I like the fact that they've got Amari Cooper because, quite frankly and honestly, Josh Allen have anybody to throw to, and
Yeah.
that's run heavy because he's got to be Superman in order to pull these games out. And like I said, he's one hit or two from having both arms and a leg up in the hospital. So you know what I mean? You don't want him doing that every Sunday. And once again,
Yeah.
he had to really do that to beat the Jets. Here he is, John, with linebackers trying to run him over, stuff like that. You don't want your quarterback getting into that stuff. So I'm not sold on the Bills. I don't know if Amari can be. I don't think Amari Cooper is as good as Stephon Diggs, but he's better than what they have.
Yeah.
So we'll see about that. And then Pittsburgh, I'm not sold on Pittsburgh. And I think, quite frankly and honestly, I don't think their offense has the punch it needs to be one of the big dogs. Justin Fields has played adequate football. They've played well enough to win. This is the reason Mike Tomlin is going, maybe Russell can give us that extra that we need. But at this stage, I don't think you make a change because you're winning and you don't want to damage the confidence of Justin Fields. So
Yeah.
I would that's a whole other area. And then you look at the rest of the AFC, and there's just nobody coming. I mean, I think Denver's a decent team, but they're not a big dog team, And then the rest of the AFC, to me, I mean, look, the Bengals. How do you figure the Cincinnati Bengals? You look at Cincinnati Bengals and you go, man, Joe Burrow, everybody, they got everybody. They are a poor defensive team. And quite frankly and honestly, they struggle with the Giants. So the Cincinnati Bengals are not what we thought they were going to be. Cleveland definitely ain't what we thought they were going to be. The AFC South sucks. The only team in that division are the Houston Texans. The AFC East, like I said, Buffalo probably the class of that division. Now the Jets, okay, they have an opportunity here. And if they can get Devontae and Aaron going, you never know what the Jets can do. Do I think they're
Yeah.
serious contenders to the Chiefs and the Ravens? No, sir. So we have to see what happens as the season progresses. Now, as I look at the NFL Power Five, I'm going with Kansas City as the best team in the NFL, followed by the Minnesota Vikings. Both teams are 5-0. Then I got the Baltimore Ravens pulling up the close rear there at 4-2. And Houston and Detroit round out my top five. Your thoughts?
I think that's a fair assessment. I think the top three are locked. I mean, you got to give the 5-0 teams their respect. Chiefs last two Super Bowl wins they had their respect. Texans They're balling. Detroit's balling. Um, I think as of right now, I think that's a pretty fair statement to say. I think that during the following weeks, I believe that's going to change. We all know that the 49ers are going to be trying to make their mark. And if the 49ers are able to beat the Chiefs, that's going to immediately push them into the top five in the NFL. So um, it's pretty squared away, man. I have to agree with your list.
And I tell you right now, we got some games that's getting ready to pop off on week 7 coming up, dude. That's going to be real interesting. And I just think that, when you look at the 49ers right now, there is Christian McCaffrey on pace to come back this week.
No, no, he realistically he's more of a after the bye week type of guy. I know I believe we have the Chiefs this week, and then we have Dallas. After Dallas, I believe we have a bye week. So he's more. They're looking at him after the bye week to come back.
Okay. So anyway, this is a watershed moment for the 49ers coming up against Kansas City, because I think as they stand now as a unit are capable of beating the Kansas City Chiefs. I've got some thoughts on that game that I'm going to share a little bit later on. But let's start out with Thursday Night Football tomorrow night. We got the Denver Broncos and the New Orleans Saints in an interesting game. I mean, I think the Saints without Derek Carr are going the wrong way. They're not going to win with the backup. The Saints are not good enough to win with the backup. But the Denver Broncos are not world beaters, although they're not trash. Should be a competitive game. That's going to be tomorrow night on Thursday Night Football, 8:15 on Prime Video. Your thoughts on this matchup?
Yeah, I agree with your assessment. Without Carr, I don't really see the Saints getting this game. The Broncos, one thing we can say about the Broncos is they have a good defense. They
Yeah.
play good defense, which complements the offense. So on the road, I think Denver will get it done on the road. I don't know what is Derek Carr injured or did he get benched?
He's injured.
Yeah, with him being injured, I don't think the Saints got nothing coming. Maybe if they were playing the Dallas Cowboys, they would have a chance. But against the Denver Broncos and that defense, I think that defense is going to put the clamps on the Saints.
The one thing about Dallas, as you mentioned, the Cowboys, when they play when they play poor teams, mediocre to poor teams, they usually win. Even though it's ugly, though they don't like blow anybody out.
Right.
But so to your point about the Cowboys and the Saints, even a backup with the Saints wouldn't be able to beat Dallas right now. My apologies to London. I apologize for America, London, for sending these two horrific teams to you this weekend. The I don't know why the Jacksonville Jaguars keep getting these dates in London. Maybe the girls over there just love. My gosh, what's the guy's name? The quarterback for the Jags, he's an NFL bust. Trevor Lawrence. He's an NFL bust. It's just that simple. And so he's over there again, back-to-back weeks in London, and they're taking on a horrible New England Patriot team. Although I think they made the right decision to move on from Jacoby Brissett and start looking at the future. I think there's a future for Drake May. It ain't now. Let's let's go over to Sunday's games at 1 p.m. We got the woeful Tennessee Titans taking on the Buffalo Bills. That should be a good game for Buffalo to get on track with Amari Cooper. The Eagles take on the Giants in a good NFC East matchup. And you know what, Stu? I think the Eagles are going to struggle to win this game. What are your thoughts on this matchup?
I agree, man. The way that defensive line has been dominating teams for the Giants. The Giants have bounced back from the way they started this season, and they're showing like, hey, man, we're an NFL team too. We got playmakers too. We got a defense that's getting after the quarterback. Jones is that Danny Dimes is doing enough, So I think the Giants is not going to go in there. I mean, They're not going to lay down for the Eagles, and the Eagles are not playing their best ball either. They're playing decent ball, but they're not the world beaters that they were last year before they got shellacked by the 49ers. So I think that the Giants actually have a good chance at pulling up the upset on this one.
I do as well. I think the Giants aren't as bad as we thought they were. They are competitive, and they got a little bit of fight to them. And
Yeah,
the Eagles don't seem to have a whole lot of fight. And I don't,
yeah,
I dude, something's wrong with Philly. And I said it at the beginning of the year. Something. I think the issues they had at the end of last year have carried over to this season.
yeah,
And I think it starts with Nick Sirianni. He's the issue. Something's going on in that locker room with that team and Nick Sirianni. They're over the honeymoon with Saquon Barkley. It's back to business as usual with the Eagles. That team is not right. And
yeah.
quite frankly and honestly, and I think they should win the game. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to pick the Eagles to win the game, but they are ripe to be upset Sunday against the New York Giants. We've also got this is probably the marquee game of the weekend. I think there's another one or two, but this is definitely one of the marquee games of the weekend. Detroit versus Minnesota in Minnesota. Stu, your thoughts?
I got Minnesota. I think that horn that you always hear when they score, I think you're gonna be hearing a lot of that going on. I think without Hutchinson there, you know, they're gonna have a lot more time back there, and they're already undefeated. That defense is going to give Detroit all they can handle. Um, these are two potential playoff teams going head to head, and I think the home team is going to pull it out.
As a Packer fan, as you mentioned that dadgum horn that they blow in Minnesota, I can't stand it. I can't stand that dumb horn. But that being said, I would agree with you. And I think Detroit. Here's the thing too that I take away from the Dallas
Mm,
Detroit game, and I watch people as they had destroyed the Cowboys, and I'm going, hey guys, let's understand something. Let's not measure Detroit on their demolition of Dallas. Okay, it's starting to look like a little league team can go in there and demolish them. Okay, I said so. I don't think Detroit is as good as everybody's saying. Like they're still Detroit, meaning they're one of the big dogs, but I don't think their demolition of Dallas puts them up and far away from the pack. And listen, with Aiden Hutchinson, I'm not so sure they can go to Minnesota to win. Okay. But the Vikings have shown slippage over the past couple of weeks. I'll tell you right now, the Jets had every opportunity to win that game in England. Okay. People get down on the Jets. The Jets had the opportunity to win that ball game, and then they come back the following week. The Vikings do, and they played before they went on the bye. The Vikings, I forget who it was that they. Do you remember who the Vikings played before they went on their bye?
yeah, they played Dunbar High School. Nah, I'm not sure. I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. I'm not sure who they played.
their last two games to me were not super impressive. Like they had the Packers down 28-0. They barely won the ball game by an onside kick, 31-29. They
Yeah,
escaped from Green Bay. And then
yeah,
like I said, the Jets had them on the ropes. So
yeah.
I don't think it's impossible for the Lions to go in there and win this ball game. This is going to be a very, very good game. I don't care where they play this game. They played at Washington Monument. I don't give a dadgum. This will be a very good matchup, one of the marquee games of the weekend. Then we've got the Atlanta Falcons and the Cincinnati Bengals, which I actually think this is an intriguing matchup. What do you think about this one?
And I just pulled it up real quick. So they played they put a spanking on the Texans. They won a close game against your Packers, and then they beat the Jets. So those are all good teams. All potential playoff teams. So that's awesome. And you said the Seahawks and the Falcons.
Falcons and Bengals. Oh no no no
Falcons
no
and
no 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 no! My bad, my bad. You're right. It's the Seahawks and the Falcons, and That'll be a good matchup. The Bengals and the Browns, not worth discussing. The Dolphins and the Colts, also not worth
Not
discussing.
worth
There's
discussing.
talk that Tua Tagovailoa is actually thinking about coming back, which I don't think is that smart. But if he does come back, the Dolphins will be a whole lot better than what they are right now, which is trash. At 4:05 p.m. on Sunday, we've got, speaking of trash, the Carolina Panthers going to Washington, D.C. You can best believe there's going to be a lot of barbecues in the stadium at this one. The
Yeah.
Raiders and the Rams matchup. This is, kind of a yawner as well at 4:25. One of the marquee games of the day, the Chiefs and the 49ers. And you being a 49er fan, I don't need to ask, but I will anyway. Your thoughts on this matchup?
I just want to get this game out the way. Um,
Okay.
if history repeats itself, we played the Chiefs last year. We lost. After that game, we didn't lose another game the rest of the year. And it was around the same time we just went on a run and we smacked everybody up into into the Super Bowl where we lost again.
Talking about
So
the Ravens.
yeah, so this game right here, it's a great game. We can win this game even with, like as you mentioned, even without McCaffrey. We have enough to win this game.
Yeah, yeah.
But for whatever reason, Mahomes has our number. I just want to get past this game. And then I think it's all downhill for the 49ers as far as we're going to go on the run. I think we're going to go on a run after this game. If we win this game, oh man, if the 49ers beat the Chiefs at home, I think that on every sports show, you're going to hear the Niners are back. Just wait till they get Christian McCaffrey. Just wait till they get healthy. If they could beat the Chiefs unhealthy, then I think that everybody else is going to pretty much, you know, we're going to have that confidence and that swag back that we had last year. We're not in our swag yet. We're not in our, our mode yet. We're piecing together some wins. We're having some faults here and there that we're beating ourselves in most of these games that we're losing. And I think that if we beat the Chiefs, we'll be back in our bag, back ready to try to go to the Super Bowl and at least try to get a win this time.
And then on Sunday night, another marquee game, and it involves the New York Jets and the
Mm,
Pittsburgh Steelers on NBC and Peacock. This is a marquee matchup. It's a
yeah,
huge. This game right here has huge implications. The New
yeah.
York Jets gone out and gotten Devontae Adams because Aaron Rodgers went wham wham wham, and he got what he wanted. And they're close. And this is, I'll say this. I'll just come out and say it right now, and I'd love to hear your response to it, because I think the Jets have a great opportunity to win this game, because this is the last time, and this is the last thing Mike Tomlin needs to start going into a game like this is a quarterback controversy. You save that until after this game.
Yeah,
But if the Jets lose this one, that's going to be a problem in New York. Your thoughts?
I agree. I think it should already be a problem. I mean, I don't like the firing of Robert Salah and how they went about that. And then it's like you fire a good coach, and then you start trying to make some changes and get Aaron Rodgers some pieces. The defense was good. The
Yeah.
Jets defense is playing well. It was the offense. Don't make the changes on offense after you fire your coach. So this is in my opinion, this is a game the Jets need to try their best to win. They need a momentum swing. You got Devontae Adams. I think he might be the much needed piece that can push the Jets into that role that we all thought they were. The defense has been playing great all year. They've been waiting for the offense to catch up. And if we're talking about catch up, the Steelers must be the mustard. And I think that ketchup is going to go ahead and get the dub.
Well, that's why they call it Heinz Field. But But yeah, I look, dude. I agree with you on that. Then we go to Monday Night Football. We got another doubleheader on Monday night on ESPN, ABC, ESPN Plus, and another, the fourth marquee game in my mind of the week. The Baltimore Ravens travel to Florida to take on Tampa Bay. What do you think about this matchup?
I think I think the Bucks are going to give them their best shot, but right now, the way the Ravens are playing, the way Derrick Henry is running, the way that team is playing complementary football, the Ravens are a tough team to beat. If the Ravens played like this week one, I believe they'd be undefeated. I believe they would have beat the Chiefs. This is the team that I was expecting to see, and I think the world was expecting to see week one in that revenge game. It took them a couple weeks to figure it out, how to use their special weapon. Now they got it locked down, and I'm not saying they're unbeatable, they're unstoppable, but it's going to be tough to beat them because now with the addition of Derrick Henry, they just wear teams down. They maul you. This guy gets stronger as the game goes on. You still have to be having to account for Lamar Jackson on the field, and that just gives defenses nightmares. And the Ravens play good defense as well. So I think the Bucks are a good team, but I think the Ravens are going to get it done. And I'm taking the Chargers to get it done over the Cardinals.
I agree with both assessments. I think what the Bucks have done, and a slight pushback, is they have proven that they can stand up against good teams. That's
Yeah,
one about the Bucks I wasn't so sure about, but I've seen them take. I've seen Baker Mayfield stand up, stand tall, and get it done against some quality teams. The problem for the Bucks, as well as any other team in the league, is stopping the battering ram. If you cannot figure a way to mitigate Derrick Henry's success running the football, you're going to lose to Baltimore.
yeah.
And I'm putting Kansas City on notice. If you cannot mitigate, and you got to remember, the last time the Chiefs played the Ravens, which kicked the season off, they didn't give the ball to Derrick Henry very much.
No.
I don't know why. I mean, it was the first game. They were just trying to figure out, okay, how do we use Lamar and Derrick together? They were still trying to figure out. He only carried the ball like 8, 10 times. So
Yeah.
if they play the Chiefs currently the way that they're playing now, oh no, I don't know about that one. I
I'm gonna
don't
tell
know
you
if
what
Chris Jones and those boys want to be hitting Derrick Henry all afternoon like that. Go ahead. What's up, Stu?
the Bucks need to do. They need to call Prime, get Prime on the phone,
Uh-oh.
and ask can they borrow Warren Sapp. I know Warren is a coach now, but you need 99 to come back for the Bucks if you want to stop Derrick Henry.
You
You need
need
Warren Sapp on that defensive line if you want to plug that hole.
you need John Lynch, the whole crew, because that this dude right here, he's a problem. Anyway,
Yeah.
with on that note, we are going to, ladies and gentlemen, skip out of here. You've been listening to and watching the Maurice Brown Comedy Show on bogradio.fm, hanging out with my main man, hip hop artist Antoine A.S. Stewart, as we get ready for an exciting week 7 in the NFL. And I got to tell you right now, up to this point, the season has been every bit as exciting as we figured it would be. So, on that note, we're out. You guys have a blessed week, and may the peace of Jesus Christ be with you and your families. God bless.